Welcome to the Wealth Lincher podcast, and in the studio here we have one of our Lincher coach, Grant Howie, and then we've got a special guest, Ron Yang. Welcome to the show, guys.
Hi, Don.
Well,
Hi, Don.
Saturday morning, 9:30 a.m. in Ponsonby. I don't know what the hell we're doing here, but we're here because we want to make a difference. Firstly, Ron, how long you're an agent in the city? You've been selling apartments for how many years now?
I first started in 2011, so it's been 8 years now.
8 years?
Yeah.
And how long you know Grant? And you've been, Grant obviously buy a lot of property off you and for his students and that he mentors?
Yeah, I was lucky enough to know Grant first year of my career, which made a huge difference. Yeah, so we first introduced ourselves to each other back in 2011.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Grant, obviously you've been the master at the apartments in the city. You mentor a lot of students, and how's it going so far anyway?
Yeah, great. It's fantastic having quality agents like Ron on board who really know the market. It's got experience and good knowledge. Interest rates are hugely low at the moment, so it's fantastic buying for investors, first home buyers. So see the market picking up in the coming months as spring and summer comes on.
And what is it that's important about having a good agent and a relationship with agent like Ron here to be able to supply you and your mentoring student a good product and with the gain and the healthy returns, and also buying an apartment in a building that has no issues? How important is that relationship between you and the agent?
The first and foremost is honesty. Dealing with a professional who's honest, who deals in facts and figures and understands intimately what we're trying to achieve as investors, and also real estate agents who are investors themselves.
Right. And Ron, apartment market in the city, what's it doing currently?
Well, currently over the last couple months, I think our open homes are getting busier. There are more people, I think probably like Ron said, coming into this season of the year, more people are out looking. But overall, as you probably picked up, that over the last year and a half maybe, the market has been a bit slower than before, So we are getting a little bit busier now this time of the year, which is a good sign.
Right. And look, a lot of our investors out there, or a lot of the audience or the public, some of them are anti-investing in apartments, and they don't believe there's capital gain in the apartments. And, obviously they read the press, they see some bad articles on apartment, they've gone off it. Well, Grant, how long have you been mentoring students now for apartments?
Yeah, this is my 15th year.
15 years.
Having clients in Central City. You always, golden rule, as you know, Don, is you always invest around infrastructure. And Central City has got more infrastructure than anywhere else in the country. We've got the City Rail Link, we've got the casino convention centre there, which is massive. We've got downtown business centre as well. So it's incredibly important to invest your money around major infrastructure, just like the Central City.
And how many sort of like apartments, or what's the average that your students would have bought in a year or sold or keep, and what sort of gains would they make?
So it's starting from our average purchase price is $400,000, and we renovate for a cost of about $10,000. So it's the cheapest entry point property market in New Zealand. And in the last 3 months, my group and the investors, we've purchased 9 apartments, which equates to just over $4.3 million in 3 months.
And majority of your client, do they keep them, or they sell them for cash flow or as a business?
At the moment, it's all about cash flow. So 18 months, 2 years ago, we couldn't buy an apartment that was positive cash flow. Now it's all about positive cash flow. It's a property perfect storm. We've had prices reduce, drop in the last couple of years, and we've had interest rates go through the floor as well. So it's two perfect parts of the puzzle have come together, and now we've got amazing positive cash flow in the Central City.
So going back 7 years ago or 5 years ago, and let's say a 45 metre square one bedroom apartment, what price were they, and what would they now? Say the investor bought it, say 5 years ago, how much gain would they make now?
Yeah, Ron can comment on this really well also, and they've all doubled in value.
Wow.
Yeah, they really have. Yeah. So that's the information we try to give to a lot of our potential clients as well. Some people are under the impression that you don't get much capital gain in the apartments market. But when we show people the numbers, the stats, the facts, it's actually a very good proof that it probably gets better capital gain than a lot of the areas in Auckland or in New Zealand.
So you've been selling apartment now for how long?
8 years.
8 years.
Yes,
Wow. So 8 years ago,
Yeah.
what would a one-bedroom apartment be, and what would it be now in the central CBD?
To give you an example, there is a nice and easy as a studio, about 30 square metres,
Yeah.
$120,000 to $150,000. Now it's
Yeah.
double that. It's
Wow.
$320,000, $350,000 for the same product.
And what's the advantage of buying an apartment versus a house? Say in the CBD, obviously you've got no lawn issues.
Yes. Yeah.
What
no
are the
maintenance. You've got most buildings have professional building managers,
Yeah.
and a very professional body corporate as well to manage the building. And you're close to everything. You're not having to drive to work. We've seen a huge amount. The last 3 years, we saw a huge amount of owner-occupiers come in the central city. And that was, as an investor, they were our biggest competition. And so they moved into owner-occupier, what we call OCs in the central city to live. So they didn't have to fight the traffic. So you found a lot of those people lived and worked in the city. So there might be a couple. The one of the couple works in the city, another one works in the suburbs, so they're driving against the traffic, and the other one just walks to work, and that went through a huge.
And what sort of mistakes would you see for, say, if someone doesn't need a mentor and they just, say for example, somebody picks a paper up today, they start to go and buy an apartment existing in the central CBD, they either buy one or two of them, around 500, 600, 700,000, they just decide to go and buy one. Now, what do you do as a mentoring advice, and what do you do as a good agent? So let's say start with you, Grant. Like, what's the difference between a ninja team that can be able to protect the investors versus a non-ninja team?
Great question. It's for me, it's all about education and shortcutting the client to profiting from investing in property wherever it is in Auckland. So having the skills and the knowledge to shortcut that process, so they don't go out and make all the mistakes that you could make. We eliminate and reduce those mistakes down as much as possible. What I see from Ron's situation and my situation, we see a lot of novice investors coming to the central city for investments or to live, and so I see the real estate agents like Ron who are having to educate investors who know simply nothing about property investing. And so the real estate agent has to invest a lot of time in educating a buyer into which apartments and which properties to buy in any market.
So Ron, what sort of advice would you give the client?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, if like Ron said, if someone comes to the apartment market new, then there's a lot of things they have to learn, because this is a very unique section of the property market. There are a lot of things to learn, and there are a lot of different types of buildings and knowledge involved. Very often we have to invest a lot of time and energy into giving or educating the client and telling them what's going on, what to avoid, and what is potentially a good return. What are some of the terms, like in a body corporate, why do you have to pay this? And so yes, there's quite a bit of work involved.
Right.
And yeah.
And is there, so what would something that you will not advise your students to do in an apartment market?
Yeah, first and foremost is just don't buy the first thing you see.
Right.
Yes, we need to do a lot of due diligence and checks and investigations into whatever you buy.
And have you got one of these white belt ninja that come in, study for 3 hours and think, wow, I can be the master now, I don't need you anymore, and then boom, he goes out, buys 4 apartments in a weekend and come back and say, hey, I bought 4 apartments, what do you think? Have you seen that example?
No, not at that extreme. Have you seen something like that, Ron?
Yeah, we yes, a lot of the buyers are impulsive, like Grant said. Don't we can spend a whole day talking about do's and don'ts, but they do need to be informed and try not to be controlled by their emotion.
So what sort of cost does that cost the investors if they made that mistake?
Oh, it's money-wise, it could be, a lot of money.
Thousands.
Thousands, tens of thousands even.
So they could be down for 50,000 for a impulse decision without the mentoring advice, without the professional agent.
Yes.
So I noticed you guys, when I mentioned a building in the city, you guys seem to know everything about it. And, do you know every building in the city? Is that your job?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah,
we've got to know our product.
Yeah, it's our job to know as much as we can, and keep updated because things change as they go. I mean, buildings, they all have annual meetings every year, so we do have to keep ourselves updated all the time.
What do you notice about the population growth 10 years ago to what it is today in the city? Has it grown a lot?
Hugely. It's gone up massively. The central city is becoming more and more a dynamic central city, a dynamic city to live in. There's more entertainment, there's more accommodation, there's more quality accommodation. We've got supermarkets now, which we didn't have years ago in the central city. And they're hugely busy. You go to the supermarkets and
I noticed there's a countdown down Beach Road there, and there's another one down the road here in Freeman's Bay, and
there's a new word, Queen Street, I think.
Yeah. So it's such a more attractive central city.
What do you think of that new tower down the end of Customs Street that's opening up soon? That $1 billion office tower shopping centre.
Yeah, and that's all gonna add to the attractiveness of the city. I'm a migrant. When I first came to New Zealand, I was under the impression that New Zealanders are only into houses. They wouldn't accept the idea of living in the city, but it's changed so much over the last 5-10 years maybe. There are so many people who are accepting more to the idea of living in the city, and they just find attractiveness.
So are you finding with the Labour government now banning the foreign buyer last year, and a lot of the Asian buyers or the foreign buyer now, they don't invest in the apartment or they can't buy an apartment if they want to. What does that do? Does that give the opportunity now to the Kiwis or the investor to have more option, or that hasn't affect your business? What's change have you seen?
Yeah, we certainly saw quite a large impact when the foreign buyers were exiting the central city. There's no doubt about that. But the government puts a rule in place, and everyone just finds a way around it.
Right.
And so a lot of the investing, a lot of students and people coming here to study, and so they became residents and citizens, and so that the international buyers just bought through their children.
Okay,
so already established here.
Did you see that your sale gone down or demand gone down, or do you still see it going up even? Hasn't changed? Has it changed?
Well, my personal experience is it certainly does make an impact. A lot of people who are trying to buy, they can't simply because of this new regulation. But like Ron said, I mean, it takes people longer to figure out a way of doing it.
Right.
Yeah.
So what are the benefits if I want to be mentored by one of the Lynchers, Grant, and what are the benefits of they would receive from you?
Years and years of experience in property investing right across the board, all through Auckland, through the suburbs, knowing the how to use a sale and purchase agreement to your advantage to get a very, very good price, learn all the numbers for buy and hold, being plugged into a network of specialists, so property managers, a team of real estate agents, property managers, brokers.
And you guys are on call? You're on call?
Yes.
You're available to them 24/7.
That's correct.
Or to a certain extent.
Yeah, phone and email. Look, if you need to get a hold of me, give me a call. If you don't get me straight away, leave a message, and I'll call you back as soon as possible. Email me.
And Ron, what's the benefit of an investor dealing with you in the central CBD?
Oh, dealing with me. Okay, I'm a very professional salesperson with good work ethics.
Yeah.
I always treat people with honesty. I think that's important because people do a lot of purchases. This is potentially one of their biggest investments in their life. I mean, it's a lot of money we're talking about. People are spending years of savings into this, so they need to know they're dealing with someone they can trust. They're provided with the accurate information.
And how many deals, Grant, would you see when you would turn down before you select the right deal for your students?
7, 8 out of 10 we'd turn down before we got the right
really?
deal. Yes.
So there you go. So if you're thinking of investing, you think buying 10 out of 10 is good. You're just telling me you turned out 8 or 7 out of 10 for 2 good deals. And I guess that's really important for you, Ron, to say when Grants buys a good deal, and obviously in future when you resell, you can easily resell for the investors, right?
Yep.
If you bought 8 out of 8, obviously 6 of them might not resell because they overpay or something wrong with the
That's
building.
right. We'd rather have one good loyal client who's happy with us and will always come back to us, rather than some 10 people who are got into the wrong deals. Yeah.
Yeah, well, guys, I think that's a great insight of the CBD Ninja investment advice. So thanks for coming to the show.
Thank you, Ron. Thank you, Don.
Yeah, thank
No
you. Thank you
worries.
for having me here. Yeah.
Cool.